Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for joining today's Vendors at Large meeting. Today is July 22nd, 2026. Currently on the line, we have myself, Charlisa Payne, Troy Stevenson, Daniel Profiter. We have Jesse, LaShawn, and Jerome, Brawin, Eunice, Facile, Marie, Marquette, Nicole, Dr. Austin, Imad, Jelani, Jeremy, and Nicole. Thank you all for joining today. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review the agenda. If not, I will make sure I list every item as we go along. So we're going to start off with item number one, which is the financial reports overview. Mr. Stevenson, I don't know if you're able to mute your phone. So we're gonna have Miss. So we're gonna have Nicole and Jeremy present from our operations team on the financial reports.
Hi, this is Jeremy. This is the financial reporting as of October 1st, 2005, year to date, as of July 17th, 2026. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
FY 25 unspent levy set aside was 211,295. Levy set aside received year to date was 161,185.71. Set aside, the items paid from levy set aside, the total was 157,724.90. This consisted of maintenance of equipment, 15,808.31, management services, 86,707.90, purchase of equipment, 29,341, replacement of equipment, 25,867.69. So the new levy set aside balance is 214,755.81. There was a journal entry of 66,000 in April that reduced local expenditures against POs, and also a journal of 72,000 in May to reduce local expenditures against POs. Local expenditures, there was no fair minimum return, local funded purchase orders, and other expenditures. The total was 44,749.35. These consisted of maintenance equipment, 1,812.75, management services of 39,448, purchase of equipment of 3,488.60, and there was no replacement of equipment for local expenditures. So this concludes the financial reporting.
Thank you, Jeremy. I just want to see if there are any questions for the operations team before we move forward in the agenda.
Yes, this is Jerome Walker. Could you remind me the $86,000? What did that fall under?
That was management services.
Okay, give me that understand. What does management services entail?
There's various things like, give me one moment. Various items that we services like Griff for moving items between different facilities, Randall Stattle for inventory services, Blank for menus, different types of various expenses like that. Coles Group as well. But when we have use a Griff for moving items and Blank for signage and cleaning and inventory items, those type of items are falling under management service.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy, this is Eunice Miles. with the permission of Ms. Addison, who is the chairperson of the Budget and Finance, is it possible to make sure that we get a copy of that prior to the meeting? And that way
Yeah.
we can look at it and better, just because I can't remember everything that you read.
So, Ms. Miles, these
So,
reports were sent out on Monday.
say that again?
The reports he's reviewing, they were sent out on Monday.
Okay, well, I don't navigate through the internet very well. And a lot of times I don't have that assistance. So if you don't mind, Jeremy, just give me a call and let me know if that's okay with Miss Addison.
I'll give you a call in the future.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Miss Addison?
I have a question.
Okay,
I just
get on mute. Yes, that's fine with me.
Hi, this is Nicole. I have a question. I just wanted to know, when will the commission report and profit and loss statements come out for last month?
I started sending them out today. There was a delay with some of the reporting from some of the third-party vendors. And I just got one of the last items today. So I started sending them out today, and they should all be sent out today.
Thank you.
Okay. So there are no more questions for the operations team. I apologize. I'm going to move on to item number 2, which was vendor acknowledgement. I see one of the people here. I just wanted to take the opportunity. I received a call from Mazur around the Independence holiday time, where he kind of was giving me an overview of some success and some hardship due to the holiday and the tourist crowd and increased numbers, where his supply was depleted due to the overwhelming numbers that had to come into his location due to the weather. He did reach out to me and gave me his thankfulness for Miss Addison and Mario Cruz stepping in to assist him with inventory support. So I did just want to take the time to acknowledge that and to thank you all for collaborating and working together. If there are any future stories, I would like to be able to fit in kind of acknowledgement into our agenda to speak on some of the positive and highlighting moments as well. So for this month, I just would like to thank Mario and Miss Addison for assisting Mazur with that moment.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
I would like to also move on to topic number 3, which was the submitted agenda items. The first item referenced the micro market procedure update. The question was micro market policy discussion. The SLA has not had an instructional meeting to go over the new policy being implemented and reasonings as to why this is being done. So the mentioned procedure, the micro market procedure, is set to be effective October the 1st. This was a procedure that we engaged with the Promotion Transfer Committee, our policy committee team, as well as the full vendors at large, where we send it out for any comments and feedback before it is finalized, which we receive those comments and feedback. When the transmittal goes out, there will be a breakdown onto what was received from the vendors group, which items we decided to comments and suggestions we move forward with, and which items we did not. In between now and October 1st, operations will be kind of giving you guys a look into what those changes will look like in between now and then. So for example, your commission's report may show what your actual numbers are, which you would be receiving that month, and then it will also show you what you would have received under the new procedure, just so that you have a few months to kind of adjust to see what those new numbers will look like, and that you have an adjustment period before it is effective October the 1st.
Thank you. So we'll be getting, you'll be sending that out, and we'll be receiving it when? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Yes, so I can send the transmittal and the updated procedure out today. It just will not be effective until October the 1st. There is, give me one second, there is going to be another reference policy connected in that transmittal. And let me just verify the one that is connected to it, which is the Randolph-Sheppard Vending Facilities Program Policy. That policy will be connected to it, and that policy is effective June 24th. But the micro market policy also mentioned in the transmittal is effective October the 1st, and you will receive that by the closing of this week.
So we'll get the Randolph-Sheppard Vending Facility Program policy that was whatever on June 24th, and also the micro market combining all the micro markets and what
yes,
we'll
the
be
third
getting.
party.
We'll get that in October. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second item was the GSA clearance process. The question was GSA clearance process discussion, not
excuse me, Ms. I wanted to make a comment. You didn't ask for comments for the micro market procedure policy.
Yes, we received the vendors' comments on that procedure when it went out.
I was talking about right now. I had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question that I had, the policy that you guys had wrote, is stating that the micro markets are going to be reassigned as satellites, and they're going to be placed back on the call down as satellites. Now, I know myself, I have a primary as a micro market that I obtained a few years ago, and 2 other people have primaries as well as micro markets. A recent vendor who came in and a senior vendor. So what the policy is saying, that those primary locations are going to be revoked from the vendors who have it and reassigned and put back on the call down as satellites. And I wanted to make it clear, is that what you guys are saying you are doing? And what is the reasoning to do that? Because I thought you couldn't have your primary location revoked unless you were not, operating in accordance to your permit, to your agreement.
So that is actually not what the procedure says. What I would recommend then is that you wait until you get the full finalized procedure, and then you could ask questions about it. But when we sent the original procedure out for comment to everyone, what you're suggesting sounds very much like what it did say, but we got feedback from a significant number of the vendors saying, rather than put third-party managed micro markets on a call down, we would rather see all of the earnings from all those micro markets that are third-party managed shared by all the vendors equally, rather than mixing them up every year or two. And so given the near consensus of opinion on that amongst the vendors, the revision was made to the procedure so that essentially all third-party managed micro markets will be one shared satellite that everyone will have. And the procedure addresses the issue of what happens with vendors who have third-party managed micro markets as primaries. Those will no longer be allowed to be primaries. And so by policy, it can't be a primary. And so it will be removed. And I guess, the procedure's going out along with the explanation. And then we will, before the effective date, I guess we'll probably send something out just to reinforce that this is what's occurring and to allow people, if they wish, given that there will be action taken by the agency, we'll give notice of it 30 days in advance so that people can appeal those decisions if they wish. However, those decisions are consistent with the program policy, but people can challenge them and suggest that somehow it's inconsistent with regulations or the law. I can't advise people what to do, but we will be taking actions effective October 1, and we will give everyone notice those actions are occurring, and here are your appeal rights.
Okay, so if the agency can revoke a primary micro market location that's non-staff, would you guys be able to revoke a staff primary location for no, just went out of the blue?
Those locations, first of all, I'd say this isn't out of the blue at all. This has been a very transparent, and I mean, there have been a number of discussions before we got to a finalized procedure on this. Those locations, and that's why I say it might be better to see the final procedure before we ask all these questions. Those locations that are managed by Randolph Sheppard vendors, that's a facility like any other facility. Third-party managed facilities, as you know, those are not work opportunities. Randolph Sheppard vendor managed facilities are work opportunities. All third-party managed are essentially is unearned income. So we'll be shifting all of the unearned income to be one shared pot that's shared equally as earnings, not shared as pension, shared as earnings each month as a satellite for all vendors to share equally.
Okay, and what's the difference between the UMC contract, which is also a third-party contract? Would that be able to be shared as well as a satellite?
No,
to all
because
vendors?
that one is actually one that requires vendors to work. That one requires the vendors, if it happens, that one requires the vendors who take it on to actually work at the location. So it's a completely different. We have these teaming agreements with some entities, and in the teaming agreement, we define what work is expected from the vendor and what work is expected from the teaming partner. Very different circumstance. That's not unearned income. Those require people to show up each day and work. Maybe not each day, but there's an agreement in there about the work effort that's required by the vendor that is awarded the particular facility.
And my understanding, Mr. Reese, is that it is every day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a full-time job.
It is.
And then let me just say something else, Mr. Andy Reid. I have one last question. So when we started putting these micro markets out, because I think we have about 40 micro markets, so the blind vendor is not going to operate any of these micro markets, because when you originally started bringing the micro markets into the DC program, that's what I thought you guys were going to do. Allow blind vendors to operate the space of the micro markets, because they apparently they only can be operated by our sighted partners.
That's not accurate. Actually, we have 6 locations that are operated by Randolph Sheppard vendors. You are correct. When we brought this on board, the plan was that that this would be essentially a facility opportunity for vendors. I don't know when that shifted. I think it was related to a number of issues. One, the company that we purchased the micro market equipment from no longer was selling the equipment. There was increased and sudden demand for a high number of micro markets. So even if we had the company available to purchase equipment, we couldn't have purchased equipment for 40 locations. So there were those challenges with it, but if you look at the procedure that will be coming out this week, it does say anytime we're offered a new opportunity, the first preference will be that it will be a Randolph Sheppard managed micro market assuming certain things, which is that the agency can afford to purchase the equipment, that we have vendors that are interested in operating such a location, and that the budget allows for it. And if all those things are true, then we will go with our first preference, which is that it should be a Randolph Shepherd operated facility.
Okay, and I don't know if you have these numbers in front of you. Do you have, how many locations do we have that the blind vendor can operate, and how many locations do we have that the third party operates? And then that's it.
So currently we have about 23 or 24 locations, different varieties of locations that are being operated by the 19 vendors. In regards to the total of the third-party companies, I will have to try to tally that up and get that total to you before the end of the meeting.
May I ask a question? This is Jessie.
Go ahead, Jessie.
Yes. Will there be another call down for vendors who have Micromarts as primaries before the 1st of October?
The procedure will address that. I'm not remembering it off the top of my head. The answer is it depends, because some vendors, if a vendor is left displaced, then absolutely. If a vendor has a location, but they have another location, then no, they're not considered a displaced vendor. So it'll be essentially simply a circumstance where their income is shifting, but it may not even change. So I don't know if Charlisa gave the total number of third-party managed micro markets. It's a high number. So the earnings from that is shared amongst all the vendors. There's 19 vendors. It's possible that someone who has a micro market as a facility and they have just the one micro market, when they're sharing in the earnings from all, how many is it?
About 49, 48,
Okay.
40. It's in the 40s.
When they share in the earnings from all 40, like 1/19 of 48, it may be that they get more. So I don't know. And that's the reason that we're that's the reason that we're not implementing until October 1 and sending people the information. Here's your check for this month for the micro market you have. And under the new policy, here's how much your earnings would be. And that way, when we send out the notice saying effective October 1, this change is taking effect, then people will be able to, if they choose, challenge that decision.
Now, one more question. But those people who have the Micromart and don't have another location that's working, and you're saying in the procedure, in the new policy, if you're not working, you won't receive a portion of the combined income. What happens in that situation?
That sounds very different to me, in that you're not talking there about a person. If someone has only micro markets, they would be considered displaced, and we would have a call down. The only way they would not share in that income is if they refuse to participate in the call down in order to get a location. So the point is, someone can't come into the program and say, no, that's okay, I don't need a location, I'll just share in that income.
Thank you.
That was the reason for including that.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying if you have a satellite that's a staff facility and you have a primary location that's a micro market, you're not going to be considered displaced. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
So the primary micro market is going to be taken. So they'll just be left without a primary? I'm confused.
I believe that the procedure says that their satellite will become their primary, and for people who don't have a satellite, they would be displaced.
And it's not just a satellite, but a working satellite.
Thank you.
Correct. Okay, so we have about 25 minutes left, so I'm going to try to move through some of these other items. Again, I will be sending over the full procedure for you all to read through. And if there are any further questions, please feel free to email me and I'll respond on that topic. So the next item was the GSA clearance process. GSA process discussion, not processing vendors in a timely manner and delaying vendors entering the facility. So on this topic, we do work closely with GSA, and we do understand that sometimes it can kind of be a lengthy process, which is why we do encourage the vendors and their staff to please respond to the emails that you receive, whether it's from the SLA or from GSA or any credentialing. And part of that process to please just respond in a timely manner to help move things along. We cannot change GSA's process, but the best way to kind of keep things moving is to be responsive. And if you know that you're in the midst of having any type of background checks or anything going on, to actively check your emails and encourage your staff to do the same. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I was just going to speak on that. I'm sorry.
Yes, I am finished. If you have a quick question, we're getting down to the last 20 minutes.
Yes, I just wanted to say I was the one who had asked the question because, as you all know, around May I was awarded this location and I'm still not cleared. And I have a General Services Administration badge, and I even went and took my fingerprints at the location. So it's just, to me, because I have a General Services Administration badge, I feel like GSA could have gotten me clear because there are things that I still have to do, like getting the internet line running, bringing in the cash register, the modern cash register, getting training. And so how did you guys get the other vendor in the State Department?
So
the other vendor has a GSA badge. Mm-hmm.
Columbia Plaza has its own special situation as to why the delay is not solely based on the GSA background, but that is something we can discuss outside of the meeting because I want to try to move along through the agenda in the limited time we have. But the process is the same as I just described as far as the GSA. Columbia Plaza has its own reasons as to why it is delayed, and we do apologize, but I will talk to you about that offline. Topic number 3 is the proper communication methods between GSA and building management. The question was, vendor was told not to communicate with GSA, only through the SLA. As the owner/operator of the facility, I should be able to communicate with my landlords as I had previously done. So the standard is to work through the SLA and through your monitors at all times to keep us in the loop with your communications. We do encourage healthy communication, strong relationships with your building management. We do understand that some building management may be a little more helpful than others, which is why we encourage you to keep the SLA in all of your active communications. It isn't to say that you cannot speak to your building management or work with your building management. It's just encouraged for you to keep the SLA included in case we need to step in and assist with anything, and so that we can track everything that's going on at that location. In regards to communicating with GSA, there is kind of a chain of command in that you should be communicating solely through the SLA and allow us to communicate through GSA. If GSA needs to reach you directly about something, GSA will contact you directly. But if you need to reach GSA, you should be communicating through the SLA for that. The 4th item was a vendor vision evaluation suggestion. It says implementing a policy for evaluation of a vendor vision every 5 years to meet program requirements. The agency needs to implement this policy ASAP, especially after a vendor was removed just last year for this reason. So we did send out a procedure. The license termination procedure was sent back in July. And we received comments or a comment on that on July the 13th, which the agency is taking the suggestion into account. That procedure is not finalized yet, but when it does, you can review that for any updates to vision evaluation. The fifth item was the State Department and UMC conflict. It says primary plus the vendor at State Department was able to bid on that facility as a primary, but also had the UMC bid as a primary. Please provide an explanation. But currently that does not exist as of yet, and I'm not totally sure where it's going to go, so there isn't a comment at this time, but if it does come, we will make sure to communicate how that process will go. The sixth item was pennies rounding. Guidance on penny rounding. Does the current register have an option on penny rounding since you can't get pennies from the bank anymore? This is a vendor/customer choice. You can choose if you want to, if you owe the customer a penny, if they will allow you to short them a penny, or if you are willing to round up and give them extra change. But this is something that at this time will have to be managed or should be managed through the vendor and the customer. So that is all of the pre-submitted agenda topics that was received. The next item on the agenda was the commission rate meeting update. So I have been in communications with the third-party vendors who have sent in different dates that they are available for early to mid-August. The only thing is none of their dates kind of align. I did reach back out with the final dates that were submitted to kind of see if any of them could consolidate so that we can have only one or two meetings. But if not, I will just schedule separate meetings and I will send the invite to all, and those who can participate on those date and times, please feel free to join. So hopefully I have an update from them by next week. I think one of the third-party companies, the person isn't returning until the very end of next week, Friday the 31st. So I would say, if not by the close of this month, the very first week of August, you should have calendar invites for that or those meetings concerning the commission rates. The next topic was a customer service luncheon, September 2026. Based off previous meetings with the vendors at large and BVC, the SLA thought that it would be a good idea to host a customer service luncheon for both the vendors, the monitor, and SLA staff, so that we can just align ourselves for the program standards and any Q&A that we have, touch up on customer service. And I am looking to hopefully see if I can get someone from the Department of Health to possibly join that. But we are still working on all of the details, but I did just want to give a heads up about that event so that when you see it come up on your calendars, you are familiar with what that is. I also wanted to provide a quick update. I mentioned in the last meeting, this isn't on the agenda, but I mentioned in the last meeting that I was going to be working to divide Jelani's locations up with the other monitors so that the site visits can still happen, because those are mandated visits that need to happen monthly. So I have divided his locations up. During this time, you should still, if you are a vendor of Jelani's, you should still communicate all of your needs, equipment needs, facility issues, concerns to and through Jelani. He will still be assisting you as your monitor. The only effects of this change will be there will be a different monitor physically in your location completing your monthly site visit. The update on that, which I will also send an email. So under Abby Masola, or some may know him as Caleb, he will have the 2 State Department locations. He will also have DIA, the 2 Department and the 2 Department of Energy locations. Elijah Wan will have Columbia Plaza, GAO, National Archives, World Bank, and the 2 Department of Labor locations. And this will begin with the August site visits. The second to last item is the August vendors at large meeting date. Currently, sorry, let me pull my calendar back up. Currently, the 4th Wednesday in August, it will conflict with a scheduled policy committee meeting that we have. I do have a few proposals, which would be either it can happen on the 26th and it can either be at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. or on the 27th of August at either 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. I don't know if anyone has any preferences on which date. One is a Wednesday and one is a Thursday.
I don't care. I don't have a preference. This is Eunice.
Okay. So if there aren't any preferences, I will select a date and time and send the invite for that for the next month's meeting. The last thing was open items and discussion. So we have about 12 minutes left. If there was anything that anyone didn't get a chance to send ahead of the meeting that you would like to ask or mention.
This is Eunice again. Just an FYI. I'm not sure if all of the vendors are aware of the fact that once you take that food certification class from Bernie, you then have to go online to the health department and secure, I guess it's a card that you have to pay $35 for. So when the health inspector comes around, that is what they're going to be looking for, that you get a certificate. And you must have that. I don't think a lot of vendors understand that just having that food handler certification will suffice. You do have to get that DC government, I guess, certification, which costs $35, and you can only do it online. I have the email address and a phone number if anyone needs that. I'll be more than happy to share it with you.
Thank you, Eunice.
Thank you, Eunice. You did share it with Marquette when you had time. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I tell you what I'll do. I'll just have a lady that assists me to send it out to all the vendors. Is that okay? Even if you don't need it, I'll just send it to everyone.
Eunice, can I ask a question? Didn't
Sure.
they give you a certificate with their card also?
I think they give you a certificate. I'm not sure if they give you a card because I don't have mine yet.
Yeah. They
But
gave. I
she
got
said,
it. I got it last year, and they give you a certificate with the card underneath, and you attach the card from the certificate. And I put the certificate on the wall, and I keep the card in my wallet. Right.
Okay, well,
So they'll give you both.
great. Okay, great.
Also, at the beginning of the meeting, before we got started, a few vendors were discussing a food, I think it might be like a conference happening in Atlantic City in September. I'm not sure if all the vendors know about that. I think it might have been Daniel Profiter and Jesse kind of sharing some information. So if anyone is interested in that opportunity, or has the information or details, please feel free to share it amongst the vendors and SLA, the details of that conference or event.
Food show.
The food show.
I would like to ask a question that's not on the agenda, and it pertains to the cafeterias in our locations that may have been given a permit by GSA, and we do not receive any commissions or anything from. Could that be looked into and explained how that occurs when we're supposed to receive some kind, from my understanding, we're supposed to receive some kind of commissions from these cafeterias, even if we don't manage or operate them. So if possible, could somebody possibly communicate that to me so that I could understand, and I can express it to the rest of the vendors that has asked the same question as to how that is occurring without us receiving any commissions, or whether we have to wait until the next time those things come up for some kind of review or something, but we're not understanding how this is occurring.
So when a cafeteria opportunity becomes available in a building, we could bid on it. If we don't bid on it, we're not going to get it, obviously. We have to have someone who could actually operate it. Another facility in your building competing with you is not what is addressed in the federal regulations regarding direct competition that requires you to receive commissions. The only thing that is addressed regarding direct competition is vending machines, because when vending machines came about in the United States, the law was changed, the regulations were changed to say if those vending machines are in direct competition with the Randolph-Sheppard vendor, then the vendor is entitled to commission from the vending machines. And that is the only competition that is addressed in the regulations, not other facilities in the building or near the building. As I've said before, we had circumstances where when food trucks first started, we had a vendor who was on the first floor who had a whole bunch of people that walking right by her facility to go out and eat, purchase food from the food trucks. I had mentioned, I know that the place that we opened up at DOES, at the other end of the building, another place opened up that was in competition. And I heard actually our vendor was successful in being the one that survived that competition, because the one at the other end of the building is now no longer there and our vendor is still there. It's business. So we get the right of, we get a sort of first right opportunity. We don't have the right of first refusal. We still have to put in a proposal. We still have to demonstrate the ability to operate a facility, but we don't get a share of everything else that's in the building. Once you're in the building, you have to compete with other people in your environment.
Okay.
And just to reiterate what Mr. Reese just said, that is absolutely true. There was a discussion with Mickey Gatehouse some while back, maybe a couple of years or more, and he said the exact same thing. We are not entitled to any percentage of the income from a cafeteria that's in our building.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, I would like to say something too. I understand that. I just recently understood that. I see that too, but it is addressed. It does mention facilities, but apparently we don't supposed to get commissions from it. But it does say in 74, it was put back into the Randolph-Sheppard regulations. In direct competition, it says machines and facilities. But apparently we're not supposed to get it from the facility. It says that, but not supposed to get it from there. So I'm understanding that better now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have about 5 minutes left. If anyone has any other open items, we can hear them. If not, I will end today's session.
I would like to say something. This is Marie Bolden. I just, on behalf of the committee and maybe majority of the vendors, I'd like to express my appreciation to the agency. It appears that we're beginning to get on the right road to work together as the program and the vendors. I just wanted to say thank you to the agency for this meeting today. I think it's been a wonderful meeting, and I hope that we can move forward and get even better. So thank you all from the agency and the vendors.
And thank you, because I think what contributes to that is all the time we spend together meeting and talking things through, and that's on everybody's part. I know you all are working hard at your facilities. We work hard to support you, but I think that having all of the opportunities for us to discuss issues is what helps with that. So thank you.
I can't second that emotion, but I attempt it. I agree also. You guys have been great.
Well, that's good coming from you, Troy.
Oh, yes. Whatever.
Yeah.
They've been great. I mean, it is what it is. But they got the best intentions for the vendors, and I see that they've been working hard. And we have disagreements on certain things still, but I appreciate their effort. I mean, they've been great, lately.
And you've been better lately.
There's an old wild.
And you have been better lately, Troy.
Well, thank you.
I gotta go. I'm signing off.
Look, there's an old folk tale that I like to share. There's an old folk tale that says you can't make anybody do anything, but you can always challenge them to do better. So I think we've challenged each other to do better, and we're seeing the results of it.
Hello, well, I'm all out of challenges.
And I'm all out of time, so I'm hanging up.
I'd like to first say thank you, Mr. Reese, for all the patience and understandings that you provide for us, you and Ms. Payne, all of you, because it has been a pleasure dealing with you guys, especially in the last few months. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'm not often.
And I say the same thing. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you all. Thank you for welcoming me. I appreciate it. So everyone have a great rest of your day. It is 1:58 and you guys can have 2 minutes back of your time. Have a great remainder of your day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
You as well.